A neighbor of mine named Betty Johnson, who some of the old timers in town are familiar with, was a very strong advocate for senior health care. And she walked down one evening and stopped by, and I thought we were just going to have a friendly little chit-chat about the weather. Well, pretty soon she forwarded the request that I might be interested in becoming involved in a new effort called a hospice. Betty said that Dr. David Cleaver and his wife Jean were very seriously considered trying to formulate a plan for a hospice here in Corvallis. So I thought, well, it might be worth a curious effort to look into it.
I think it's remarkable that Dave and Jean were really pretty much at the very beginning of this in Oregon. It was very grassroots. It was all volunteer services.
Hey, remember, we're talking about late 70s, okay? There's no Google. There's no internet. We started from scratch. Our first inspiration was do it as a standalone, do it as independently of any other organizations as you can, and do it for free.
This was a reflection of sort of the idealism and commitment of Dave and Jean, was that they wanted to try to do this with all volunteer staff. I think certainly the growth and the acceptance in the Corvallis, Benton County area, Linn County area, indicates that people became to see that as really a part of the continuity of care.
This is an organization with strong roots in this community. We are a community-based nonprofit, for which we're very proud because there are fewer and fewer community-based nonprofit hospices. Over time, Benton Hospice Service had grown, and it had grown both in the scope of its services to include palliative care, which had not previously been provided by the organization, but it had also grown out of Benton County. In fact, in 2019, approximately 40% of the patients we served were in other counties like Polk and Linn. And so we really felt that it was time to sort of have a name that represented our organization more clearly. And so there was a great deal of thought and market research, and through that lengthy and complete process, Lumina was chosen. And the tagline at the time, of course, was illuminating care.
Adding palliative care services is really core to what Lumina's identity is. Hospice has been the sort of central focus of Lumina's existence, starting as Benton Hospice Services. When we think about the larger population of people who have illness, who have different medical conditions and are suffering different symptoms and also need to plan for their future, palliative care has a huge role in helping these individuals to feel better and to be better set up so that they can make the decisions that best fit their wishes downstream. You know, if we can take the scariest and the hardest and the most difficult experiences that some people live through in their lives and bring moments of joy and happiness and relief and sharing to those patients and their families, then that's what palliative care is for, is to take something that is really scary and to try to relieve that and to bring some levity and joy back to that.
I feel so lucky to be a part of an agency that has said we're committed to being a source of grief support to anybody in our community who is encountering grief. Medicare requires us to have a bereavement program, but we don't get any reimbursement for the bereavement services that we provide from Medicare. And our community has been so supportive of our extra programming and allowed us as a bereavement program to go into schools and do grief support groups, to go into different facilities and talk about grief and loss, to help train teachers in our community about how to support their grieving students. All of that is possible because the community believes in this mission that we have to be a resource to our community. I think it's an amazing commitment that we've made to the community, and I know it's one that not a lot of hospices are willing to do.
I think that the community and families can expect that Lumina will be here and be stronger and larger as time goes by. We will continue to expand our programs. We will continue to be the leader in end-of-life care in this part of the Willamette Valley and Oregon.
There's so much of life to live in the last few months of your life. I really want people to be able to experience joy in that time, to know that there's a support mechanism for their families and for themselves.
Most anybody whose life has been touched by hospice would say, that's something I want to have available to me when the time comes.